Shoya Ishida is a bully, but still not a completely lost guy, although Shoko Nishimiya will disagree with this. Nishimiya is deaf from birth, and when she was transferred to Ishida's class, she tried to be kind and be friends with everyone. She had a special notebook in which she wrote what she wanted to say to others. The teachers singled out the girl and did not ask her as strictly as the rest of the students, and this annoyed Ishida and his classmate Naoka Ueno. Ishida began to mock Nishimiya. He forcibly pulled hearing aids out of her ears, threw away her notebook, mocked her, and staged other offensive pranks. At some point, all this reached Nishimiya's mother and she turned to the school. Ishida was raised in front of the whole class and forced to confess to the atrocities, but he did not want to be responsible for everything alone, so he turned in everyone who also bullied Nishimiya. His mother had to meet with the girl's mother and apologize for her son's behavior. Nishimiya repeatedly offered him friendship in sign language, but Ishida did not understand this and continued to mock him. She had only one friend in her class, Miyoko Sahara. Finally, Nishimiya could not stand the attacks of her classmates and transferred to another school, and Ishida was branded as the main bully. He was accused of taking the girl to the extreme, and when Ishida transferred to high school, his former friends told everyone that it was better not to communicate with this bully because he mocks people. So Ishida became an outcast. Since then, he did not look people in the eye, but when they met, he directed his gaze to the floor. And at some point, he decided that he had no reason to live. Before jumping off the bridge, Ishida wanted to give his mother all his earned money and return Nishimiya her notebook. To do this, he joined a sign language study group. When Nishimiya recognized him, she got scared and tried to escape, but Ishida caught up with her, returned the notebook, and offered to be friends. The girl burst into tears. Ishida also had difficulties at home. His mother found out that he had decided to commit suicide and blackmail, forced him to abandon this venture. Ishida had to agree, otherwise my mother promised to burn the money they had given her. But she still burned the money inadvertently. Ishida continued to ignore all attempts by his elementary school classmates to make friends with him. One day, when he came to school, he saw a boy trying to take a bike from a fat guy named Tomohiro Nagatsuka. To save the unfortunate from the bully, Ishida offered to take his bike. So he was left without a means of transportation. But in gratitude, Nagatsuka found his bike and returned it to him. From that moment on, Nagatsuka considered Ishida his best friend. Ishida was looking for an excuse to meet Nishimiya again. He knew that the girl was feeding the fish from the bridge. So when he found a discount coupon when buying bread, he decided that it was a sign. He took it, bought a hefty loaf, and went to Nishimiya's. A short man appeared at the entrance to the classroom and announced that he was Nishimiya's boyfriend, and she herself is not here, although the girl was sitting at her desk. Shorty escorted Ishida out and closed the door behind him. However, Ishida was no longer alone. Nagatsuka followed him around like a very talkative shadow or an overly cheerful tail. But Ishida didn't mind. They were constantly hanging out together and looking at Nagatsuka. Ishida began to think about the meaning of friendship. Once he visited Nishimiya again, but the same little man again tried to distract him from his girlfriend. However, this time Nagatsuka intervened, deciding to help a friend. He grappled with the guy and was ready to fight him, but it wasn't necessary. Nishimiya noticed the scuffle and saw Ishida. The two of them went to feed the fish, while Nagatsuka and the little guy stayed to spy on them through the camera lens. Nishimiya took out a notebook, which Ishida returned to her, but the guy did not want her to read those offensive things that he wrote in a notebook in elementary school. As a result, the notebook flew into the river. Nishimiya jumped after him, and Ishida jumped after the girl. The notebook was saved, but the little guy managed to take a picture of Ishida during the jump and posted the picture on the internet. Ishida was punished at school for this jump and put under house arrest. And since he was staying at home anyway, his sister asked him to go to kindergarten for his niece. Picking up Maria from the playground, Ishida saw a little guy hiding in one of the slides. He realized that the guy had run away from home and invited him to his place. Then he found out that his name was Yuzuru Nishimiya. At night, Yuzuru escapes and Ishida has to look for him in the rain. He walks the guy home and finds out on the way that this is not a boy. Yuzuru is the younger sister of Shoko Nishimiya, and her mother met her at home. Upon recognizing Ishida, she slapped him in the face for all the troubles he caused. After finding out that Nishimiya wants to find her old friend Miyoko Sahara, and Ishida goes in search of her. He is joined by Nagatsuka, Yuzuru Nishimiya, and Shoko Nishimiya. They meet Sahara by chance on the escalator, and Ishida leaves the girls talking while he goes for a walk. At the intersection, he meets Naoka Ueno. She gives out coupons for visiting a cafe with cats. Ishida has an idea to bring Nishimiya together with Ueno, and he goes to the Ueno cafe with Nagatsuka. However, upon seeing him, Naoka hides. Ishida buys a purse in the shape of a cat's head and leaves. He gives the wallet to Yuzuru to give it to his sister, but Shoko is not in the mood for gifts now because her grandmother is ill. After a while, Ishida meets Ueno on the street and she wants to start chatting again, but Ishida is no longer eager. He only needs Shoko Nishimiya. Realizing this, Ueno begins to bully the girl like at school, but Ishida protects her. One day, Shoko Nishimiya decides on a serious act. She wants to confess her feelings. The girl changes her hairstyle, buys a gift for the guy, and confesses her feelings to him. But Ishida doesn't understand what she's trying to say, and this offends Nishimiya. One girl from Miki Kawaii School tells Ishida that her boyfriend Satoshi Mishiba wants to make friends with him. Ishida doesn't mind, but despite new acquaintances, he continues to puzzle over a gift for Nishimiya. Yuzuru suggests inviting her sister somewhere. This should cheer up the girl. The whole company goes to the amusement park. Here Ishida begins to guess that he now has real friends. He sees how jealous Nagatsuka is when Mishiba talks to him, how the girls joke and no one shies away from him like at school. But Ueno spoils everything. She tries to set him up with a former friend, and then accuses Nishimiya of breaking up their company and Ishida becoming an outcast. Ueno calls Nishimiya for a ride on the Ferris wheel, and Yuzuru, suspecting something is wrong, gives his sister the camera turned on. After watching the recording, she and Ishida find out that Ueno told Nishimiya how much she hates her, and even hit her, and Shoko Nishimiya admitted that she hates herself too. Mishiba learns from Miki Kawaii that Nishimiya was bullied at school because of her deafness. He asks Ishida about it, and Ishida goes to talk to Miki. He doesn't want her to talk about his past. Miki is offended that she was considered a gossip girl, and tells everyone that Ishida hounded Nishimiya. After that, Ishida feels terrible. He is rude to all his new friends, and this makes him feel even worse. Soon after, Nishimiya's grandmother dies and Ishida supports the sisters at the funeral. And then he is invited to their mother's birthday party, and the woman accepts the guy. She changes her mind about him and even agrees that he should go with them to the holiday, watch the fireworks. Nishimiya leaves the party and Yuzuru asks Ishida to bring her camera. When Ishida comes to their house, he sees Nishimiya trying to do something bad. But he doesn't save the girl. Before that, he promises himself that he will change his life, start trusting people if Nishimiya is saved. But by doing so, he gets in trouble and falls. Ishida ends up in the hospital, where his mother and Ueno take care of him. All the friends also turn out to be nearby, but Ishida does not regain consciousness and does not see their care. Ueno believes that Nishimiya is to blame for Ishida's near death. She meets her on the street and beats her up. Her mother stands up for the girl. Ishida is still in the hospital. Nishimiya meets with all his friends and asks them to communicate with Ishida again. She wants to fix everything that she destroyed by appearing in Ishida's life, and everyone agrees to help her, except Ueno. The girl ignores any attempts by Nishimiya to establish a relationship with her. One day, Nishimiya dreams that Ishida is ready to give up and die, and that he no longer wants to fight for his life. Nishimiya wakes up and runs to the river where they were feeding the fish. Ishida also dreams of Nishimiya. He gets out of bed and goes to her. They meet by the river and explain their feelings to each other. Ishida apologizes for all the nasty things he did in elementary school and for everything that happened afterwards. Ishida goes to school with Nishimiya, and then he realizes that everyone was worried about him, especially Nagatsuka. Even Ueno met Nishimiya halfway and started learning sign language, although she pretended that she didn't need anyone. Ishida gathers courage, looks up, and the people around him stop being invisible. He can look at them again without fear, accepts them into his life, and begins to cry with happiness.